It was extremely tough, those first 18 months. And the threats that I was under, I can't even talk about. How many fighters are really about it these days? From where I'm stood, not many. This is meant to be a tough man sport. Most of the men in this sport are not men. They get in line and they're looking for the next paycheck.
At 23 years of age, became the youngest licensed promoter via the British Boxing Board of Control. You're now 30. A lot has happened in that 7 years, and throughout the course of this conversation we're going to talk about highs, we're going to talk about challenges, we're going to talk about maybe how things took you by surprise from the outside looking in this murky sport of boxing. But I want to know, before we get into any of that, what the pre-23-year-old Ben Shalom was doing and why you decided to enter this business.
Boxing, I knew I couldn't get in the ring, but I liked being around it. I liked the mentality. I always saw myself as a bit of a underdog, a bit of a fighter, a bit of a misfit. And because of that, I was drawn to boxers. I found it fascinating that you could work for something so hard and have no guarantee of success. And like the integrity and the hard work and the honesty you have to have with yourself to go through that process, I was fascinated. Like growing up, it took me a while, because I feel like starting a business is sometimes like that, because you don't actually know where it's going to get to. And you have no guarantee of success, and it's very lonely. And for fighters, I liked being around them, because they were in the toughest of sports, and they were doing things that are really tough. And I always just felt like, whilst I was going on my journey, it was never as bad as what they were going through, because of the physical elements and the fact that you can be seriously damaged, and the fact that you can't enjoy yourself, and the discipline and everything like that. So I think that's where it started, was like a combination of me starting businesses and wanting to get out there, being a bit of a misfit, loving boxing, but also being fascinated by those fighters on like a similar journey from Manchester. In particular, I knew a couple of fighters and started working with them from early on, and that's how it started, really.
Where are we? What's this street?
This is Chapel Street.
Yeah.
And this was my central Manchester, Salford.
Okay.
Proper Manchester.
Yeah.
This is my first office, which I'm sorry to see is a hair studio now, but it was an estate agent, and then we managed to get in there. And I remember people knocking on thinking that we were an estate agent, but we weren't. And then I was there. It was an absolute mess. The toilet didn't work at the back, so we couldn't really bring on too many staff, because I think that was against all
What year
HR.
is this? When were you doing this?
Could be anything from 2018, 2019, during COVID, 22, 23,
Okay.
20, 22, 20, 22, 23.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
So you're here for how long?
2021.
What, about
few
3-4
years?
years?
3-4 years at the start.
So this is the first boxer office.
First
Who's in here?
Ultimate Boxer, this was.
This was Ultimate Boxer. So who's in here? You?
Me, Charlie, Baz.
Little dog there, give it.
We had all sorts of freelancers helping. Me, Charlie, Baz, and then a couple of others, and it was mad.
Did you choose this location because it's
No.
in good? You didn't choose. No, I'm just saying because it's in close proximity to the actual arena that.
No,
is in the centre of
we
Manchester.
chose this because it was what we could get
For nothing.
like this is. I loved it because no one knows who you are, and that was one thing I didn't expect, because I didn't want to be famous. I'd say that hand on heart. I was so naive. I was building a business and thought I can do this faceless, like it's just the brand, and that's why it was all about the brand. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way, but not knowing anyone, being able to graft and finding ways to survive.
Was a broadcast deal to the magnitude of Sky Sports part of the plan?
Again, I know this is a boxing podcast, but specifically in a business sense.
Mate, this is a live podcast. This is about you. So
You
go.
have to. I realised very early on I couldn't do anything without a broadcaster.
Mm-hmm.
I went from Lad Bible to Unilad.
Yeah.
In the early days, I went to 5 Spike. I went to BT Sport. I went to ITV4. People just think I arrived. I was everywhere. I used to write letters.
I remember you on Lad Bible and I remember you on Spike.
Yeah. I used to write letters, handwritten letters, in the best paper I could find, to TV execs, maybe once a week. And I'm sure some of them still have some.
Them letters,
of a
yeah.
24-year-old Ben Shalom writing from my desk, delusional, but long letters as to my passion for boxing, why I wanted to put boxing on their broadcaster, why they should be open to it, why this could be a right opportunity for them. The amount of rejections that I went through before Sky is untrue. Every broadcaster I was pitching to, all the time, every time. Then I would work for free. Then I would find a way to do a show for free. I didn't get paid off 5 Spike. I didn't get paid off Unilad. I got a bit of money when I got to BT, but very little because Frank Warren was the exclusive promoter there, so there was no way I was getting a chance. ITV4, a little bit. COVID hit. Still going. Still not got anywhere. I'm still going. Still couldn't. Still was finding a way. Still was struggling. Still was in the flat where I started. And so I feel like people begrudged me a bit when I got Sky, particularly in this sport. And I know that, and we'll get on to that, because of my age. And because they thought I'd been handed it. And maybe they thought maybe I did get it too young, maybe I did. But the preparation for that 12, 18 months, even prior to the Sky, I knew Sky was going to come up. What did I need to do? Prove I could put on TV shows, prove I could do production, prove I could deal with fighters, prove that I could build a team, prove I could build a brand. It's 5, 6 years in the making for me, knowing that I needed a break, I needed a fragmentation of the broadcast landscape. Another reason why I got attracted to boxing. The broadcast world I could see was going to get really competitive, and there wasn't going to be as many of elite promoters, and it was going to fragment. And so I knew something was going to fragment, and the opportunity came, and I prepared meticulously, and I came up with a plan, and I used to write on whiteboards, and I knew every move, and I knew every middle name of every employee, and I knew everything that they liked and they didn't like, and who they were and I was obsessed. In my head, 2 years before Sky became available, I knew I was going to get the Sky deal. No one even knew that much. I knew I was going to get it because I knew the work that I would put in and the planning and what it would take. And so it was a big break for us, 100%, because it was the first time I could sign fighters. It was the first time I could afford to sign a fighter.
As a lad growing up in Manchester then, and going to boxing events, this would have been where the main boxing events would take
Mecca.
place. The Mecca.
The Mecca of boxing.
Why have we not got a statue yet for Ricky? We need one, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Or maybe renaming it.
I think they'll do something, but...
But he must have been someone that you went to go and watch, Amir Khan, someone like that.
He was, I've said, he was the first famous person I met in boxing. Ricky Hatton. Right. And I was on a flight, I was speaking to him, he introduced me to his partner as a boxing promoter, and I was like, it made me feel $1 million, because he was talking to me and actually
putting you on his level.
Yeah.
That's mega, man.
And he was talking to me, and I spoke to him a lot, and he said to me, "Are you sure?" Because I think he knew what world I was getting into. And he gave me his email. Oh, that email was so valuable to me. I was like, wow, I've got Ricky Hatton's email. He wouldn't give me his number, but I got his email, and I emailed him, and they came back. He came back, still got the email thread. I think it was like KingBen251 at Hotmail.
Watch out, people will be messaging.
Yeah, and
King Ben.
Because I was a baby, and he came back and introduced me to Paul Speak, and Paul and him. I'll never forget, like, everything. Nothing, never wanted anything, just wanted to support, and tried to warn me a few times that it was a horrible thing that I was getting involved in.
Do you think you came in a little bit green? Naive?
You can never get to my level of experience now without going through it, Going through it. 100%. You can't prepare for that. I don't look at myself and blame myself for not knowing what to do in certain scenarios, because most people will never experience those scenarios. And yeah, it was there was a lot of jealousy and a lot of greed around me, and by the end of it, I'd done extremely well, and I'd got to a point of great, stable and consistent shows. I mean, even looking at the start of this year, what I put on consistently, from Simpson to Azim Lipinets, to the Women's Night at the Albert Hall, to the Whitaker Cameron, to Eubank Ben, to Simpson at Oakwell. It was consistent and we were performing extremely well, and I'm very proud of what we did.
What have the conversations been like? Because you've just said you did build a stable that was young, it was exciting, there were people becoming world champions on your watch, and now there is a fragmentation. Obviously, with the changing of the broadcast partnerships that you have, some people have made the decision that they're going to go elsewhere, some people have decided to stay. What have those conversations
all
been
different,
like?
all different. Ultimately, money is a big thing, and agents, and this is the thing, and you learn. I think people won't want me to talk too honestly about the sport of boxing, but you learn the managers and the trainers that you can trust, and you learn, like, these things that matter. But ultimately, I was as I say, a lot of the position was caused by it. It wasn't them. It was what happened towards the end of the deal, and I had people within my business that were actively working against the situation. I was misled a lot. I feel, in my honest opinion, which I have to say, by my partner, and that will come out. That will come out in due course. But as I say, I'm extremely proud of the resilience that I've shown again, and my team, to regroup, restructure, and also find a new home.
What is the pylon like? Because anybody that follows boxing media can go on YouTube and there'll be an interview with a promoter one day, interview with this promoter, interview with this promoter. One of the things that really bugs me sometimes about people that interview is when they ask you, for example, about Eddie, or they ask you, for example, about Frank. So therefore you're in a position to comment on them, and it might be a response to what they've said about you, or vice versa. I think the media actually plays a big role in the fragmentation of promoters with the way that they are interviewed. Have I misjudged that? Or do you think
possibly for me, the industry is and I'm starting to learn in it, so I'm now having to play the game a bit, but the industry is probably lacks integrity across the board, this is meant to be a tough man sport. Most of the men in this sport that work in this sport and work in the media are not men. They don't say what they think. They get in line and they're looking for the next paycheck. That's how the sport's run. Whether it's the YouTubers, whether it's the ex-fighters, whether it's the media, whether it's the pundits, whether it's the fighters. I can talk like this now because I don't care. I've done more than what I expected to do in an early stage, and now I'll say what I think. But I think it's a toxic environment where, but I think promoters take advantage of that. I don't think it's just the media. I think the promoters take advantage of their control of every sort of aspect in the sport, and people go along with it. And yeah, it's not for me. And as I've said on an interview before, I'm happy to stand on my own 2 feet. I don't care if every last person in this sport is calling me a dickhead or against me. I don't need fake bullshit. And there's so much fake BS in this sport. It's untrue. I mean, you'll probably see some of it, but I'm telling you, it's an absolute joke.
To finish off,
Yeah.
What does 2026 look like then for Ben Shalom, a boxer?
I hope it's going to be a fantastic year for the sport, and I hope it's going to be a fantastic year for boxing on the BBC. If we can get some big nights doing 2-3 million audiences again, get back onto the main channel and really put boxing on the forefront, and we're only going to do it with proper respectable fights and fighters, not car crash. You know, we've managed to convince BBC to come back into sport, one, because of the numbers it's doing, but because of the respectability of boxing. For a long time, it was like certain broadcasters couldn't touch it, and this is what I'm talking about when I came into the sport, was how can we change that? We've got an opportunity now to put boxing on the front pages, back pages, deliver huge audiences that will have a ripple effect on all the other boxing that goes on. We're not going to be able to put on every show. We're not going to be able to put on every big show. We're not going to be able to sign every fighter. But what we can do is put on major shows in front of major eyeballs that help the ecosystem, and with fighters that we truly believe are going to get to the top of the sport.
How big could Adam be?
Oh, he can be huge. He can be huge, but he's the type of fighter that will really benefit off fighting on BBC. He'll really benefit. You know, we look at Amir Khan, and we talk about when I got into boxing. Amir Khan on ITV, I was obsessed with him. We got to get the most talented fighters we have as our advert for the sport in front of as many people as possible. Isn't that our job as a promoter? And so he's so talented that you want him in front of as many people as possible to grow himself and to create household names. And for me, that's the only way you can do it. And so, yeah, very talented, but we've also got huge other talented fighters, and we've got a couple more signings to come. We just signed Gradus Kraus, who I believe is the best light heavyweight, or will be the best light heavyweight in the world. Fran Hennessy is going to unify world titles.
I was going to say, you only signing fighters that do amazing ring walks. Fran's got her own. Gradus has got his thing.
We won the full package, genuinely. I've been there too much now.
Both of them are doing really well.
Yeah, I don't want to. The worst thing I had sometimes, and I'm not putting any slight on the fighters, but you invest a lot in a fighter, and again, this is not going to be fighters that people think that I'm talking about, because I'm not talking about the guys that you think I'm talking. But investing in a fighter that you know deep down, there's not going to be that payoff. They're not going to want to go the extra mile, and they're not going to. So to work with fighters that you can sleep at night knowing that they're doing the training, knowing that they want the big fights, that they are about it. How many fighters are really about it these days? From where I'm stood, not many. And that's what I'm looking forward to showcasing on the BBC.
All the best, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.